Hello everyone, welcome back. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Okay, so let's begin now our discussion. I hope you've had lunch, everyone. And let's also assume that you are all awake. If not, tea, coffee, whatever, washing the face, whatever keeps you awake. Please don't just take a nap and then get up and say, Sir, please explain once again all the slides. Don't do that, please. Uh, anyway, so as far as our topic was concerned, we left before the break at the topic cabinet committees, right? So we saw what exactly is the definition of a cabinet committee. Also, what is the logic behind setting up these committees in general, their nomenclature, etc., being decided by the president, by the prime minister. So all these things. Now we'll look into the standing committees, the permanent committees. These committees are important. The ad hoc ones, they keep on being set up, they keep on getting abolished or dissolved. It's of no concern to us. So we have 8 such permanent committees, the permanent cabinet committees in the country. So first up, we have the Appointment Committee of Cabinet, ACC. Now, this Appointment Committee of Cabinet has just 2 members. Membership is not important. I'm just mentioning here for your reference and knowledge. Number of members, 2. Only 2 people. Now, if you see all these 8 committees, you will find that CM stands for our innocent people who may ask me, sir, what is this CM? Chief Minister, Chairman, or Chairperson, CM. PM stands for Prime Minister. HM stands for what? Home Minister. And MOD stands for Minister of Defense. Now, please observe that we have 8 such cabinet committees. 6 of them are chaired by the Prime Minister. The chairman is the Prime Minister. 2 such committees are not chaired by a Prime Minister. So, of course, the PM is not a member of the committee. And one committee is the committee chaired by the Home Minister. The second committee is a committee chaired by the Minister for Defense. So the CC on accommodation is chaired by the Home Minister, And the CC on Parliamentary Affairs is chaired by the Minister of Defense. Okay, that's it. Now, as I said, appointment committee of the cabinet. Now, what is a task performed by this committee or any other such committee? Their individual functions may not be important. They won't be asked in the examination. Extremely unlikely. But just to brief you out, as the name suggests, appointment committee. This is the committee whose task is to look into all important appointments. It is this committee comprising of two people only, Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, who is the chairman of the committee, and Mr. Amit Shah, the second member, of course. These two people are responsible for recommendations because the committees can only recommending names for appointment of, in fact, all higher level appointments, be it the cabinet secretariat, public enterprise banks, public enterprises, PSUs, PSBs, various financial institutions. The heads of all these organizations, etc., are appointed by the government, but on the recommendation of a committee, the appointments committee, right? This is a committee which says, okay, we recommend a name for Mr. ABC to be appointed as the chairman of, say, SBI, please. And then the cabinet, the meeting takes place and the cabinet approves it. Now, that's a task of a appointment committee of the cabinet. That's the primary role. Then we have the cabinet committee on accommodation. This is a very interesting committee chaired by the home minister. So, when you become a district magistrate or a civil servant in general, you have also get the, in as a part of your allowance, you also get a bungalow, rent-free accommodation, right? Now, when you get a bungalow, especially in a city like Delhi, Delhi has, to just summarize, Delhi has over 200 secretary ranked IAS officers, top ranked. Then there are so many joint secretary ranked IAS officers, etc. So there are too many IAS officers, but we don't have that many bungalows. So there's always this conflict which goes on to get the bungalow that you are authorized to get. But sometimes you will not. Maybe you are eligible for a type 7 quarter, a 5 BHK, 6 BHK, but no such bungalow is available. So you will have to go for a settle for a lower type quarter, etc. The same thing happens for our MPs, also ministers also. So in our country, the problem is that when somebody loses elections, they will not vacate the bungalow immediately. There are stories of one CM of a state. When he lost the elections, he had to vacate the CM's office. He took away with him. He took away with him the installations, the pipe installations, tap installations, shower curtains, etc. Right? No, not curtains, but shower caps or etc. All these things, shower fittings. He took it away with him, saying that I had gotten these installed. Right? So that is with respect to the seriousness of this issue. Then one such case was where one CM, or not the CM, but whose spouse was a CM. They loved animals. They used to keep a lot of animals in their CM's house. So when they lost elections, they did not vacate the CM's office immediately because taking out or dislocating those and relocating those animals would be a traumatizing experience for these animals. That's the case. Anyway, so these are some of these minor concerns. Janta, sir, how this is free? Already pay tax for income, house rent allowance. Sir, before you become the civil servant, don't talk like a civil servant right now. Firstly, so somebody says that HRA is deducted, right? That's absolutely correct. How much money of HR is deducted? Right, running into thousands of rupees, maybe 3, 4, 5,000 rupees. And the bungalow you get in lieu of the HRA, the rent of the bungalow would be definitely over 1 lakh rupees. Where is the justification? Don't quote all these things. Come on, grow up, be mature, right? You at one point will talk about equality and removing the elitist status in the country, but when it comes to our own personal benefits, then you want all these things. Don't we pay income tax way more than what a civil servant pays? Where is our bungalow? So understand, be realistic and all. Don't raise all these concerns that we are paying HRA, so we need a bungalow. We don't need a bungalow, right? And we see how people change. A few years back, a very popular leader who is a chief minister right now, he used to claim when he was a part of a very big movement that we don't need all these bungalows. We need only a 2 BHK house. But look at the situation now. Hundred of crore rupees are being spent in redecorating the CM's bungalow, etc. Right? That's a very unique thing. People, till they are normal citizens, they understand they empathize with the citizens. Suddenly, when they go to the other side of the table, they behave as if they're the bosses. That should not be there. That's the whole point. Anyway, so these issues are very critical. Sometimes MPs will not vacate the house only; they'll stay there, overstaying. So for that, there is a cabinet committee chaired by Home Minister, chaired by the Home Minister of the country, whose task is what? Whose task is to look into all these situations where some MP who has lost elections is not vacating his office, or find out if you are overstaying in the bungalow that was meant for you earlier, which you're not eligible for right now, how much rent should be collected. So, I mean, this is a very trivial kind of committee. This committee is based on very basic things like fighting for bungalows and all. Now, of course, you may say that yes, this is very important. As an officer, I need to have a bungalow. That is my aspiration, not to serve the country. That's okay. That is why, to tide over these problems, we have a cabinet committee only on accommodation. This committee's task is this only, to look into all these problems that our MPs face, etc., with respect to their government residences that are being given to them. Then we have the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. It has 9 people, 9 ministers. All cabinet ministers are a part of CC on Economic Affairs. Again, as the name suggests, economic affairs. What's the purpose? The purpose is to direct and coordinate all government activities in the economic sphere. They review the economic trends, evolving policies, integrated policy framework in the country. All the decisions are taken by the Economic Affairs Committee, comprising of the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, the Home Minister. We have the Defense Minister as member here. So 9 people are members here. Then also very important, uh, this is the committee which reviews the activities, the progress of all these activities related to the small farmers, the marginal farmers. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs are very important. Then this is the committee which looks into the issues of disinvestment in the country. What is disinvestment? Investment, putting in money. Disinvestment, taking out money. So when we see in the newspaper, government is selling PSUs. What does the government do? It is taking out its money from the PSU, reducing its shareholding in the PSU. That's called disinvestment, right? So it is a CC on economic affairs which will give recommendations on how much of the government stake or shareholding should be there in what PSU, etc. All these things. Then also it is this committee only which looks into the issues pertaining to the WTO. WTO has its own norms that we need to follow. So how to follow those norms, how to incorporate those norms, etc. This committee decides. Beyond that, it is this committee who has been also given the task to look into the UIADI, the Unique Identification Authority of India. So this is the committee which takes care of all these activities. The CC on Economic Affairs. Then the CC on Parliamentary Affairs. Now the CC on Parliamentary Affairs, let me just clarify one thing here. in your books, Lakshmikant, etc. So, see, most of you are aspirants here who are either beginning or may have been studying for the past 6-8 months. The problem with a subject like, say, polity, etc., is the fact that Lakshmikant became a very popular book. It is a very good book, actually, because prior to Lakshmikant, there was no such book which could give information in such simple form. D.D. Basu and Subhash Kashyap are very complicated books to understand for a newbie aspirant. But the issue is that now nobody wants to take the effort to understand the articles on their own or read reports. So what they'll do is that they will constantly go for Lakshmikant for everything. So the problem here is, if Lakshmikant has something wrong, that is widespread available on the internet. One such mistake that the book made was this: the chairman of the Committee on Parliamentary Affairs is actually the Minister for Defense, but the book mentions Home Minister. Now you'll find everywhere they're mentioning Home Minister only. But in 2019 only, the change was made. And now the CC for Parliamentary Affairs chairman is the Defense Minister. So in case you find Home Minister mentioned there, it's wrong information. Don't worry. Don't mail me, sir, you taught wrong. I am teaching what is mentioned in the government records. That is the most accurate information. Okay, that's it. Now, so the CC on Parliamentary Affairs. Now, parliamentary affairs, meaning what is happening in the parliament. What happens in the parliament? Government brings bills, government brings proposals, etc. Now, which bill should be discussed before, which bills should be discussed later on, when should the ordinance be tabled, on what date which bill has to be given notice for, all these things are recommended by the Parliamentary Affairs Committee. This committee recommends to the government that, okay, we can do this, that these two bills on Monday, that bill on Tuesday, ordinance we can table on 7th of this month, etc. Clear? Right? And also, when states make any kind of law, if that law has an all India perspective involved, right? If that law impacts national interest, then this committee looks into those elements of the law also, right? So that's the task of a Parliamentary Affairs Committee, largely dealing with whatever issues or concerns are there that the government faces with respect to the functioning in the parliament. And to tell you something, the dates of the sessions, right? So we had recently the monsoon session, then we'll have the winter session, right? Next time the budget session. These dates are actually recommended, right? These dates are actually recommended by this committee only. Are you clear? This is the committee which recommends these dates to the cabinet, the government, and then the cabinet decides on that along with the presiding officer and tells the president that, President, please summon the session. Please prorogue the session. What is proroguing the session? Right, quickly. What do you mean by proroguing the session? Prorogue, Prorogue. Okay. Prorogue means to end the session, not to start, but to end. Not dissolution. Proroguing means ending the session. That's it. So the monsoon session was recently prorogued. Next session will begin in the month of November. Okay. CC on Parliamentary Affairs. Now, we have the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. This is by far the most important committee. Why? Because this is a committee which looks into center-state relations. In a country like India, where center and states are constantly fighting to arrive at a middle ground because of diversity in the country, the very important role of this committee in ensuring that there is a sense of national unity, there's a sense of economic unity in the country, and all political issues that the states face, right? They should be removed any discord, any issue, concern between center and state should be eliminated, and recommendations come from the CC on political affairs. It is also the largest committee in the house, in amongst all the CCs. The largest committee because this committee has how many people? 13 people in this committee. Parliamentary Affairs Committee has 10 people, 13 people. And because it has almost half the cabinet people are members here, we also refer to this committee as super cabinet. Super cabinet. Okay. Then we have the CC on security. Again, one such committee, which is a relatively smaller committee, and as the name suggests, it's a CC on security of the country. 5 people. CC on security. Now, this committee's task is to look at the security issues that the country faces. Now, these security issues can of course cabinet secretariat is responsible for administration. Oh, we have Sanchit here posting data. Great. Okay. Anyway, so coming to the point here. Yeah, recently, you must have seen that the 26 Rafale marine fighters were purchased. Who approved it? I mean, the Ministry of Defense purchased it, of course. But who approved it? This committee only. The CC on security. That's the committee whose task is to deal with all defense related issues, deal with issues relating to law and order, and of course, internal security. This is the task of this CC on security, chaired by the Prime Minister. Clear? 5 members in this particular committee. I'm telling you the members. Okay, members. Please understand. Outsiders and other ministers, MOS, IC, they they uh, can take part in the meetings, but they are not members. Members of these committees are only cabinet ministers. Other people who take part, they are called special invitees. We have seen that before the break only. Then we have the CC on investment and growth, as the name suggests. One more thing. These two committees, investment and growth, they are there since 2019. So before 2019, the month of June, we had only 6 standing committees, permanent committees, standing permanent committees. It is only after 2019 that we thought let's have 2 more committees, right? So standing cabinet committee on investment and growth, etc. So the purpose of this committee, including that of employment and skill development committee, is to do what? Ensuring the uh, country's growth, infrastructure, getting approvals of various projects, new industries being launched. Who will approve those? So this committee approves the relatively smaller projects. And the CC on employment and skill development, the task of these committees is what? The task of these committees is to ensure what? Ensure that there is skill development in the country, Skill India, Stand Up India, all these programs are run properly, ensuring that there is training for all the people so that in future, once jobs are made available through employment generation programs, nobody should be lacking the skills required to cater to the needs of the particular job roles. So this is a CC on investment and growth, which has 9 people, and employment, which has 10 members. This is what is the these are what are the 8 different committees that we have, cabinet committees that we have in the country, which are standing committees. Okay. Uh, I'm not sure what. Sindhya sir, who are the members appointment committee? In the appointment committee, there are two people only. Number of members, two members are there. This cabinet committee has members. Every committee will have members. And Siva, please follow. Every committee will have members. That's why it's called a committee, group of people. Who are the members? Cabinet ministers are members. So in the cabinet committee or the appointment committee of cabinet, ACC, there are two people only. One is, of course, the prime minister, who is the chairman, right? The other person is Mr. Amit Shah. Just two people. In the CC on accommodation, there are five people. In the CC on economic affairs, there are nine people. Simple. Okay. Satish, chairman of MHA. What is MHA? Satish, please rephrase. Chairman of MHA is PM. What is MHA here? Home Affairs. Sanchit, what's the role of CC on security? See, CC on security's role is basically things like considering all matters of atomic energy, number one, reviewing the manpower requirement relating to national security, how many people or staff are required to ensure national security in the country, right? To deal with all the policy matters also concerning foreign affairs on security related issues, to deal with all defense related issues, etc. So this is the task of the CC on security. Satish, chairman of home ministry is PM. How can the chairman of home ministry be PM? What is the chairman of home ministry is prime minister? I do not understand this question. Please rephrase it. It's gone above my understanding completely. Did we in general understand the concept of cabinet committees? Tell me. Clear? Okay, great. Now, one point that I'd like to explain is, in case somebody says, no, sir, I want to know the full detailed functions, feel free. Who is stopping you? You please go on Google and download Government of India Transactional Business Rules 1961. Type this only. You'll get a PDF. In the PDF, scroll down, Schedule 1, you have all the functions of these committees. Okay? Functions, Schedule 1 of Government of India Transaction of Business Rules 1961. Download the functions and mug up to your heart's content. Who is stopping you? Agni, the number of CCs completely depends. Yes, yes. Are there other? No. Number of CCs, members of CC, name of CC, the PM is a final authority, right? He may take your advice, but the PM decides. He is a boss. Simple. Okay. Now, let us just summarize what exactly is the advantage of these committees. What's good about these committees? What is the benefit? So, number one, it saves the time of cabinet. Of course, cabinet's time is saved because now the CC will give some recommendation after detailed discussion, etc., amongst themselves to the cabinet. And now the task of cabinet has become more easy. It has become easier, right? Simplified with respect to what steps to be taken. Clear? Then it also facilitates interdepartmental coordination. Various ministers sitting together, coordinate together. Minister for Finance, Minister for Home Affairs sit together, ensuring coordination. Setting up a new factory, Minister for Commerce, Minister for Environment sit together, arrive at the common point, coordinate amongst themselves. Then the size is small, 5, 7 people, 9 people, 10 people, a very small group of ministers sit together. So, because of smaller size, the deliberation is basically discussion, are more effective, less time is spent. Then it also keeps ministers in check. See, if any project comes to me, I am the Minister for Environment, I am always putting some objection because my target is no, no, no. I cannot bear any loss to the environment. Don't cut down trees. I don't know. I don't care. Forget development. Don't cut down trees. Simple. Because every minister has to perform in his own department, in his own ministry. That is how you evaluate my functioning, my performance, not by helping the other ministers out. Right? Tomorrow or after 5 years, if the PM asks me, what did you do? So I have to showcase what steps I took to ensure that the obligations of my ministerial task are fulfilled properly. Right? So I have no interest in whether education levels are increasing or not in general. My focus is please don't destroy the environment. Now, a balance is required. Everything has to go together. So, if I am now called in a cabinet committee meeting of, say, economic affairs, there I can't do all this nonsense because I know the minister for CNI, the minister for commerce, is sitting there. He says, sir, what is your problem? Please raise the objection. I will raise the objection there only. And immediate resolution can be provided by the minister for commerce. And then I'll be forced into accepting the project, etc. So I cannot behave in an arbitrary fashion because now I'm sitting with other ministers also who are also reviewing my behavior with respect to vis-a-vis the decision making process. So it keeps ministers in check. Then now think of this. There is a possibility that I am a minister for commerce in industry, but I also have a degree in law or maybe a degree in defense procurement, and I have maybe in the past worked in the area of defense. So if I am sitting in the cabinet committee of security, I can give my expert advice there also, which can benefit the minister for defense as well. Why should, if a minister has expertise in multiple areas, why should the government be deprived of getting the maximum benefit from any minister? Right? So it also ensures that maximum possible expertise of the ministers can be obtained by the government. And finally, ensures collective responsibility because now it is actually collective decision making. Ministers sit together, argue, discuss, and then give recommendations to the cabinet. In a true sense, collective decision making. Okay, that's there. No, Kamapati, chairman does not have such veto. What's the task of this committee? To give recommendations. That's it. So no veto powers or nothing of this sort. Now, what are the challenges? Challenge number one. Uh, Let me ask you a question. You will find that in every committee, irrespective of nature of work, some people are always there. Minister for Home Affairs, Mr. Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, Nirmala Sitharaman. Now, just to think of it, I told you that the appointment committee of cabinet looks into or gives recommendations on all major appointments in the cabinet secretariat for the PSUs, for the public sector banks, etc. If I am making a recommendation for who is to be the head of a public sector bank, don't you think it is more appropriate that the finance minister be a part of the committee rather than the home minister? But because home minister is my best friend or the party is very senior person, he is made the member of the committee. So on most occasions, membership is based on political consideration, like seniority in party, closeness to top leadership, etc. Right? Sanchit, Sanchit, who is this Sanchit? What are you writing, sir? You are writing about the parliamentary committees. Please. Lok Sabha Speaker has the cut, copy, paste, random things. We are discussing cabinet committees. My dear aspirant, please don't copy things from parliamentary committee. That is different. We'll be studying that after the chapter parliament. Is Sanchit a human being or a bot? I am firstly confused. But anyway. Then, irregular meetings due to common membership. Now, see, if the same 4 or 5 people are members of every committee, then we cannot have regular meetings of all the committees, because if I am a member of 3 committees, I can only sit in one place. So, because of common membership, meetings are irregular. Then, sometimes some CCs, cabinet committees, are set up on trivial issues, non-important issues, unimportant. Very good example is the CC on accommodation. I mean, look at this. The person on whose shoulders is the burden of country's security, home minister. He is a head of a committee which is doing some kind of hafta wasuli, landlord kind of behavior. What is the rent? Come on, staying for 5 more days, give me rent. Rent collector. That is wrong. This is a task that any bureaucrat can also be asked to perform. And one very important problem. I said that the CC gives recommendations to the cabinet, and then the cabinet, the senior-most ministers, together approve the decision. Tell me something. Most of these CCs, most of them, don't they have PM as the chairman? If a recommendation comes from a committee, a group of ministers, where the PM is also there, and the recommendation comes from that group, meaning the PM has recommended it, do you think the other ministers have the audacity to challenge that recommendation? Are you in your right frame of mind? Do you want to be minister or not? If you raise a concern, no, no, PM, I don't like this. Next day only, PM says, President, appoint that person as minister. He is useless. Get lost. So, if you are making PM the chairperson of all CCs only, then how will you ever revise the decisions? Right? That is why a very proper suggestion is that we should not have senior ministers as members here. Rather, junior ministers who are experts should be members here. Because ultimately, the recommendation of these committees will go to cabinet, where the PM is sitting. So he can very easily accept or cancel those recommendations. But sadly, that has not been the case. So limitations and challenges. Clear? That's it. Done. Nothing else is required here. It's a small topic, no article, nothing. But yes, in case you want to read Lakshmikant, feel free. Though I would not see any reason as to why you would want to read the book for this chapter. Nevertheless, in case of Lakshmikant, the chapter is 21. So you can read that chapter if you want. Nikhil, but if PM is all powerful who takes all decisions, it might lead to electoral. Yes, it might. That it does. There's no question of it might. That's a problem of parliamentary system. That if you command a huge majority and you're a very famous popular leader, then you are dictatorial, right? Have you not seen the past with respect to Congress? Some leaders in Congress, I will not name the leaders, or are we not witnessing all these things right now? So that is there. Go to some states. In those states where you have a very strong leader, do you even know the names of other politicians in the state? Of course not. That's a problem. So this is a problem where if you have a very strong leader, he or she will act dictatorial, because after all, if somebody gets elected, and if other people are getting elected on the basis of that popular face, that popular face will try to showcase his or her power. That's there. Okay, so we are done with the president, the vice president, the prime minister and council of ministers. Finally, the fifth person in the list of executive, the so-called executive at the central level, is the Attorney General of India. This is a constitutional post, Article 76. As per the Constitution, Attorney General is appointed by the President, removed by the President. What's the procedure of removal? Nothing is mentioned in the Constitution. What's the tenure? Not mentioned. For how long will he work? Depends on the center. Qualification is mentioned. What's the qualification? The same qualification needed to be a Supreme Court judge. That's the qualification. So one small point. In our country, there's a law. There's a rule which is called law officers conditions of service rules. Of 1972. According to these rules, the tenure is mentioned as 3 years. Not as per the Constitution, as per these rules. Okay? So, Attorney General, who is also called the highest law officer of the country. This person is basically lawyer of the government. Simple. Attorney General is the government's lawyer. Lawyer of the government. As simple as that. Okay. So, if the government faces any kind of case in the court with respect to any issue, any concern whatsoever, then it is this Attorney General who will fight the case in the court for the government. Are we clear on this? Everybody? Now, one small point before we move further is this Article 88. Now, what is Article 88? Article 88 refers to this aspect that the ministers. Have you seen this point that in the Lok Sabha we have seen the ministers from Rajya Sabha taking part in meetings? For example, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She is from which house? So, for those who do not know, she belongs to Rajya Sabha. But she sits in the Lok Sabha. She also speaks in the Lok Sabha. I mean, after all, she presents the budget in the Lok Sabha. Or recently only, the members of Rajya Sabha wanted the PM to come to Rajya Sabha and give a speech there on the Manipur issue or whatever. My point is this allowed? I mean, can a member of one house who is a minister go and sit in the other house? Yes, of course. Every minister and the attorney general, not just the minister, but also the attorney general, they have the right to what? Right to speak, right to take part in the proceedings, meaning sit in either house, and also take part in any joint sitting of the houses, any committee of the parliament of which they made a member. Clear? So if I am the minister, let's say Narendra Modi is an MP of Lok Sabha, can he sit in Rajya Sabha? Yes. Can he speak in Rajya Sabha? Yes. Can he be a member of a committee of Rajya Sabha? Yes. Nirmala Sitharaman, can she speak in the Lok Sabha? Yes. Can she take part in the meetings of Lok Sabha? Yes. Can she be a part of a committee in the Lok Sabha? Yes. But what you cannot do is you can't vote in any house you want. Voting comes from membership. Just remember this one point. Even though Narendra Modi can go and sit in the Rajya Sabha, he cannot vote in the Rajya Sabha because voting in the house, that is based on membership. So this article also says that yes, you're allowed to sit, take part in the meetings, etc. of either house, but will not be allowed to vote because of this article. Voting comes from membership. So if you are a member of Rajya Sabha, you can vote in the Rajya Sabha only. If you're a member of Lok Sabha, vote in Lok Sabha only. Now tell me something. This Attorney General can vote in which house? Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? Anshika, Dinesh, Gulam Mustafa, Deepshika, Yuvraj, correct? Jayant, Kambapati, Rana, Gaurav, C. Ramadevi, Ragini, Nandishappa. Okay, absolutely correct. Attorney General cannot vote in any house because he is not a member of any house. Are we clear? So Attorney General, because he is not a member, cannot vote in any house. But Attorney General can take part in Lok Sabha, can take part in Rajya Sabha, can speak in the Lok Sabha, can speak in the Rajya Sabha, can become a member of a committee of Lok Sabha or committee of Rajya Sabha, can't vote. This is Article 88. Clear? Okay. Now let's look at the functions very quickly of the Attorney General. Very simple functions, nothing unique and complicated here. Function number 1, to give advice to the government of India upon legal matters which are referred to him by the President. Of course, that's your task. So give advice on all the legal matters which are referred to you by the President. Then, to perform such other duties of legal character that are assigned to him by the President. Any duty of legal nature that the President asks you to perform, please perform. Then, to appear on behalf of Government of India in all cases in the Supreme Court. Why will you appear on behalf of Government of India? Because you are a government's lawyer. That's your task. So in the Supreme Court of India, if there's any case where Government of India is involved, please appear. Same goes for high courts. If in any high court the Government of India is being called or is involved, please appear there also. Now please tell me something. Do we have only one case against government? Thousands and thousands of cases are pending against the government. How can one person manage all these things? So, to assist the Attorney General, to assist him or her, we have people who are called Solicitor General and Additional Solicitor General of India. Okay. So we have 1 SG, and we have around 20-25 ASG. They assist the Attorney General in the fulfillment of his official responsibilities. Just to point this out, these people are not mentioned in the Constitution. Okay, please don't be confused. Only the Attorney General of India is mentioned in the Constitution, right? These people are mentioned in the law officer rules. Law officer rules. So they basically help the Attorney General in the performance of his functions. Then, one more thing. He has powers under contempt of court. Now, what is this power? We will discuss this when we study Article 19. Okay. Under Article 19, there's a concept called contempt of court. We'll discuss contempt of court first, and then we'll discuss what is the exact power of this Attorney General during contempt of court. Now, couple of things. Point number one. See, Attorney General, despite being a part of the Union Executive, so as to say, despite being appointed by the President, getting a salary from the government, or rather, not a salary, he is not a Government of India employee. Okay. So, Attorney General does not get a salary per se. What he gets is money on a case to case basis. So, if today I have 5 cases lined up, I have to go to court in all these 5 matters, different matters. So I will be given money by the government for each matter. So this court, this matter, 50,000 rupees. That matter, 1 lakh rupees, etc. That's how these people are paid. They're not paid on a monthly salary basis. Yes, there is a fixed amount given to them to retain their services. But beyond that, they are largely paid on a salary basis, on a case to case basis. This means what? They're also allowed to practice privately. So, Attorney General is not debarred from private legal practice. Private legal practice meaning taking up non-government cases of individuals, companies, etc. He or she can take up these cases. But the only point is you should not advise or hold a brief meeting against Government of India only. Okay? Please understand that you are a government's lawyer. So please don't start teaching against or preaching against the government only. That would be wrong. If you start preaching against the government, that could be a problem. Okay? So please don't preach against the government. That would be weird. You are government's lawyer. The same thing, Nikhil, is for SG and ASG also. They allow private practice, but should not give any brief or advice against the government of India, how to file a case against government. Secondly, you should not defend any accused person in a criminal case without the permission of the central government. Clear? So you should not defend any criminal case accused. You can, but for that you need the permission of the government. Also, you should not accept plus not accept any appointment in any company or a corporation in any company without the permission of what? Government of India. Why? If today the Attorney General attends, takes part, let's say, joins Reliance. Now he is a board member of Reliance also. Okay, and he is a lawyer for government also. Tomorrow, if government file the case against Reliance, then maybe Attorney General will not act neutrally because he has his interest in Reliance also. That's possible. That is why, if you want to be a part of any company, etc., please firstly inform the government that I have been offered that role. Can I take up that role also? And only then will you be allowed to take up the role. Clear? That is all. Yes, Pavitra, AG is private. Sidhya, great, amazing. Okay, so AG, Attorney General, is allowed private practice. You can also approach them and say, sir, please take up my case. So currently, the photograph you see here is of the current Attorney General of India. Prior to him, the Attorney General was KK Venugopal. This person, who is the current Attorney General, is R. Venkat Ramani. So he is the current Attorney General of India, government's lawyer. Sidhya, brief means meeting, holding a meeting, right? That's it. We are done with the Attorney General. Okay, just to solve this question, asked last year only. This question. Let's see how many of you get this right. Please mark the answer. I'll give you 45 seconds, not more than that. Okay, so a lot of you have marked D. Great. Let's see. Attorney General of India and the of India are the only officers who are allowed to participate in meetings of the parliament. Is it right? This person is allowed? Not allowed. Article 88 only talks about Attorney General. It does not refer to Solicitor General. Then, according to the Constitution of India, now a lot of you must have started observing that this question is asked frequently. As per the Constitution, according to the Constitution. So here you have to be very accurate. Something which is there but is not mentioned in the Constitution would not fit in this criteria, right? So according to the Constitution, the Attorney General of India submits his resignation when the government which appointed him resigns. This was a practice earlier, but it is not mentioned in the Constitution. This was basically practiced earlier. So it was more of a custom, a convention, not mentioned in the Constitution. Wrong. D is the right answer. Okay. Uh, One more question, please. Asked in 2013. Okay, great. Take part. Attorney General of India can take part in the proceedings of Lok Sabha. Yes or no? Yes, of course. Be a member of committee of Lok Sabha. Yes or no? Yes, he can be a member of any committee. Okay. Can speak in Lok Sabha. Yes, of course. Can vote in Lok Sabha. Sorry. Voting is not possible because he is a member of neither house. 1, 2, and 3 are right. C is right. That's it. Done. We are done with the union executive. Just to summarize, please refer to your Lakshmikant chapter 52. Important articles. Of course, Article 76 is important because that provides for the post. Article 88 is important because it talks about the right to sit, take part, and speak, etc. Those two. Important cases. How dare you file a case against the Attorney General? He is a lawyer. He'll file a case against you. Right? That's it. Done with the union executive. My task is to help you understand that. Second point in the AG, last question. Second point. Member of a committee of Lok Sabha, Deep Shikha. Look at this. Any joint sitting and any committee of the parliament, committee of Lok Sabha, committee of Rajya Sabha can be made a member. Okay. So my point here was this topic or these topics not of grave importance for mains, but sometimes we see questions being asked here and there from these topic in the main examination. Uh, Read the slides first. That's your priority. Once you have read the slides, then focus on doing anything else. Then read the uh, Lakshmikant book, etc. Would be of importance. And tomorrow we'll be discussing. Tomorrow we'll be discussing about answer writing also towards the end of our class at around 7 o'clock, and then we'll start writing answers the entire week. Okay, so primary objective or primary rather recommendation from my side is mug up these slides. Yes, mug up these slides, read them 5-10 times. Okay, now let's move on and understand the chapter union legislature. It's a slightly longer chapter. Longer does not mean difficult. Longer just means that there are multiple concepts involved, right? Don't feel that it's a very difficult chapter. No. It's a very easy chapter. But the problem is that chapter is so long with so many small concepts that you keep on reading forward and you keep on forgetting what was taught. So, revision, right? This chapter is very important both for prelims and mains. You have plenty of questions being asked from these topics that I mentioned here in the prelims and main examination, right? Okay, Pavitra, yes, oh, of course. Now, let's begin with the article which was in controversy recently. Just a sec, guys. Okay, so recently, did you see the news that we inaugurated the new parliament, right? The grand building. But the problem was that while we were inaugurating this new parliament, the big issue was that the president was not called for the inauguration. And all the opposition parties on the news channel were constantly quoting an article. And that article was Article 79. These people were constantly quoting this article stating that why has the president not been invited for such a meeting? Why? Because as per Article 79, the parliament comprises of the Rajya Sabha, which you call the correct constitutional name is Council of States, also called Rajya Sabha. Since 1954, this name Rajya Sabha has been used. The parliament also comprises of the House of People, the Lok Sabha, and the parliament also comprises of the President of India. That is why all these opposition parties were going crazy that please call the president, for the president is the rightful authority, being a member, being a part of the parliament to inaugurate the parliament, right? So Article 79 basically talks about the organization of parliament. Parliament is organized along the lines of the president, the Lok Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha. Clear? So that is there with respect to the organization of the parliament. Simple. Now, first up is this amazing house, the house full of these arguments, discussions, fights, etc. You can see the image also. House of People, the Lok Sabha, the lower house, house of passion, where all the MPs showing placards, throwing books, fighting, arguing, slamming the desks, etc. Fun takes place, right? Fun filled house. In our school days, teachers used to, when they would leave the class and you would start talking, of course, as it would should always be the case. And when the teacher would come back, she would always claim, "You have made this class a fish market." So, if you ever get a chance now, please go to the Lok Sabha channel on YouTube as well and look at the Lok Sabha meetings and discussions. Then we'll understand what exactly is the meaning of fish market that the teachers told us. Okay. Anyway, Lok Sabha has representation from states. 530 people maximum can come from states. 20 can come from UTs. And there's also a possibility of nomination of 2 members. These 2 members will belong to Anglo-Indian communities. We'll come to this shortly, don't worry. 2 members. So the maximum permissible strength is 552. But as of now, the present total strength or the total membership of Lok Sabha is 524 are from states, 19 are from UTs, and no member is nominated. Clear? So the current total strength or the total membership of Lok Sabha is 543. This is what is referred to as the total membership, or you can call it strength. Clear? One by one, we'll come to it. Don't worry. First up, the states and UTs. How are they represented? What's the point here? So what happens is, we have direct election in the Lok Sabha. Okay, one simple thing, because we don't have now many questions in the remaining time, so I can take the liberty of taking some interesting polls. Tell me, yes or no, how many of you have ever voted in the Lok Sabha elections? A for yes, B for no. Oh, some of you have not voted. Okay. Others always refrain from answering. So, when you vote, what happens? What's the method chosen? In the case of Lok Sabha, we have direct election for the states and UTs both. For the states as well as the union territories. Now, for states, we have direct election because it is mentioned as per constitution. For UTs, the people, the Indian citizens in the UTs, they also vote directly. But that is not mentioned in the constitution actually. That is mentioned in a law which is called UTs Direct Election to House of People Act of 1965. According to this law, okay, elections are done directly. Now, important question is who votes? So we know very well. We follow universal adult franchise. Franchise means suffrage. What is suffrage? Universal suffrage, meaning voting rights for all. Now we follow universal adult franchise. So voting rights for all adults. And the adult in our country is somebody who has turned 18. So voting age is 18 or above. It used to be earlier, how much? 21 was reduced to 18 via. So back in 1988, when Rajiv Gandhi was in power, a constitutional amendment was made, the 61st Amendment Act, and we reduced the voting age to 18. Okay, now think of it. You can marry at, you can vote at 18, can't marry at 18. Marriage age is 21. So you can decide the fate of the country at 18, but you can't choose your own fate till 21. In fact, in some states and UTs, the drinking age is 25. So you can't even drink till 25. Anyway, I'm not promoting lowering the marriage age or drinking age, please. It was just in lighter vein. Tomorrow somebody will say, sir, are you trying to promote drinking? No, I'm not. Okay, please. Dangerous situation. Now, one more thing. How do elections take place in the Lok Sabha? So we follow a system, and this system is followed whenever we have direct elections. And what's the system? The system is first past the post. Unlike in the case of president or vice president, we follow a system called proportional representation. Here we follow first past the post. What's the meaning? The meaning of this is whoever gets the highest votes is declared the winner. I'll explain this, don't worry. Whoever gets highest votes is the winner. Meaning what? There is no need to get uh, 50% plus votes. No, no, no. That nonsense is not needed here. Simple example. Example. There are, let's say, 5 people who are contesting elections, 5 candidates. Candidate A, candidate B, C, D, and E. These 5 people are contestants contesting elections. And then we have voters. How many voters are there? Let's say there are 100 voters in the area who are voting. Now A gets 20 votes, B gets 19 votes, C gets 18 votes, D gets 21 votes, and E gets 22 votes out of 100. Now please tell me, which person got more than 50% votes? Did anybody get more than 50% votes? No. Forget 50%. Nobody even got 40% votes or 30% votes or 25% votes also. But still, who is the winner? First past the post says whoever gets the highest votes is declared the winner. Clear? It does not matter whether you are getting 50% votes or 20% votes. No. Amongst all the people, if you are the highest, if you have the highest votes, winner. Best amongst the worst. That's the criteria. Clear? Now, what happens is this entire country is divided into small parts. Those small parts are called constituencies. Look at this. Constituency. So this entire country into small parts, let's assume that this is a small part, say this part. From this part, one member is chosen. One MP. From this part, 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 one MP. In total, 543 MPs. So you can look at this. This is a northeastern portion of Arunachal Pradesh. Has only 2 constituencies. The entire state has only 2 constituencies. But if you look at maybe the Gangetic Plain, especially the northern part of the country, you can see this. Such is a complication here. So many such constituencies, yes or no? Close constituencies because of high density of population. Constituencies. Clear? So look at the constituencies. So this is Assam. Every state is divided into small area, which is called the constituencies. The western part, so people from Rajasthan, Gujarat would know. Then southern part, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, people would know. So see, Tamil Nadu, this is Tamil Nadu, this boundary. Okay. And Tamil Nadu is divided into how many constituencies? 39 small parts. So Tamil Nadu has 39 constituencies, meaning 39 MPs are coming from various parts in Tamil Nadu. Yes or no? Now, just to showcase, this is a winners in 1984 elections. So in 1984, Congress won the elections by a huge majority. We are yet to see that majority ever in the country. That is also, the reason was the assassination of Indira Gandhi, and the public sentiment was with Rajiv Gandhi. So people voted overwhelmingly in the favor of Congress, resulting in Congress getting 415 seats. 415. Yes, yes, you hear me right. 415 seats for Congress. Uh, then BJP 2 seats. One here, one here. Look at 2019. Look at the change of fate. Now BJP winning on its own 303 seats. Congress coming down to around 50 seats. So this is politics. It keeps on changing. Who knows? After 10 years again Congress. After 10 years again BJP. This keeps on happening, right? And it should happen because if there is absolute power given to any group, it will be prone to misuse. Right? So that's the beauty of elections. You never know what's in store for you after 5-10 years. Clear? So this is how the elections take place. Now, one small point. How many MPs are there, or how many constituencies are there in your state? UP, 80 constituencies, right? Andhra Pradesh, 25. Bihar, 40. Goa, 2. Tamil Nadu, 39. Meghalaya, Manipur, 2. MP, 29. Constituency states like Nagaland, Mizoram, 1. Why is this happening? Firstly, number of constituencies in a state depends on population. Okay, the more densely populated states have more constituencies, right? And the lesser populated states will have, or less dense populated states will have lesser constituencies. Okay, but my point is, how many? Okay, some of you, Ghulam Mustafa says Gujarat has 26, Nandi Shappa says Karnataka has 28. Fair enough. Where is it mentioned? Some of you have made these statements that in my state these many constituencies are there, or I made a statement UP has 80, Gujarat has, or MP has 29, Goa has 1, or sorry 2. Where is it mentioned? Number of constituencies in every state is mentioned in Schedule 1 of a law called Representation of People's Act 1950. Just a point to mention. Pavitra, I'll come to your question, don't worry. Or let's write number of seats in the Lok Sabha from each state. This is mentioned where? In Schedule 1 of RPA 1950. Now, RPA, the full form is Representation of People's Act. So don't worry. You can Google search also for this. Since it's a very popular law, we'll be looking at this law again and again. And later on, we'll be discussing this law comprehensively also in future. So don't worry. RPA stands for Representation of People's Act 1950, the law which mentions these things. Clear? Okay. So this is basic information so far with respect to the elections. Now, remember we had this provision I was discussing that there's also this option of nomination of members. Some seats nomination. Possible. So we had the concept of nominating 2 members from the community called Anglo-Indians. Anglo-Indian community. Now, the question is, after all, you'll say, but sir, who is Anglo-Indian? What is this new term? Anglo-Indians are those people whose father or any male progenitor means ancestor, father or male progenitor is of European descent. All these Europeans who came to India and settled in India only, did not go back, stayed behind because now they had families, kids, etc. Now they did not want to go back, of course. And the concern was that Uh, since the Britishers are going back, we are now left at the mercy of Indians. Will we have any say in the parliament? Our population is very small, scattered all across the country. How can we ever be a solid voter base living together? We cannot have any member for us in the parliament to represent our interest in the parliament. So it was said that, okay, don't worry, Anglo Indians, we will have 2 seats for you. Nomination of seats by the president, of course, on the advice of Council of Ministers. 2 people will be chosen from the Anglo Indian community in the parliament who will sit and be the MPs in the parliament in the Lok Sabha who will represent your interests in the Lok Sabha. Clear? Anglo Indians whose father or male progenitor, ancestor, is of European descent. Okay, so now don't ask me why only father, why not mother. That is best left for as a question for the lawmakers, not for me. Now, this provision was only meant for 10 years, from 1950 to 60. But the parliament kept on amending the constitution and kept on extending it by every 10 years. So, initially for 10 years, extended by parliament till 2020. So, last time in 2009, the constitution was modified, 95th Amendment Act, and through this Amendment Act, their uh, nomination was extended till 2020. But when 2020 came, we said we have to modify the rule book again to extend it. The parliament said no, no more extension. So that is why this provision has expired now, right? It can still be done in future, but as of now it is not there. It has expired. Why? Because the government said, let's see, the population of the Anglo Indians is very small to merit or warrant any kind of reservation or nomination. Not extended because population is very small to merit nomination. Are we clear? So as of now, as of now, no nomination, but in future, who knows, can very well be brought back again. Clear? Anglo Indians. Next, reservation for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Article 330. Now, as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, some seats are reserved for SCs and STs. Reservation for what? Not voter, candidate. Are we clear? We have universal adult franchise, voting rights for all adults, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of your caste, religion, etc. But some seats are reserved for scheduled castes and some seats are reserved for scheduled tribes, meaning in those constituencies from those areas, from those seats, only a scheduled caste person can contest elections. So the ones in light green are scheduled tribe reservations, one in dark green are scheduled caste reservations. And the one in white is an open category seat. Anybody can contest. Clear? This also was initially meant for 10 years only, but we have been extending this. This was also supposed to expire in 2020, but with the 104th Amendment Act, we have extended the reservation to last till 2030. And of course, in future, it is extremely likely that we'll extend this provision once again, right? So, for scheduled castes, how many seats? 84 seats. For scheduled tribes, 47 seats are reserved. Clear? This reservation is based on the population, and so for every state, say UP has in total 80 MPs in the Lok Sabha. 17 seats are reserved from those 80 for SCs. No seat for ST because UP does not have a very large tribal population. But you go to say a state like Mizoram, state like say Meghalaya, Manipur. So in a state like say Mizoram has only one seat in the Lok Sabha, and that is also reserved for scheduled tribe. Or a state like say Manipur, two seats in the Lok Sabha, one reserved. Then we have states like Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. In these states, what happens is, because these states have both SC population and ST population, some seats are reserved for SCs, some for STs. Clear? So this is based on the population of SC STs in that state as well, right? Clear? That's there. And now, if I say right now that say in Madhya Pradesh, of the total number of seats, say MP has 29 seats. Of these, 4 are reserved for SCs and 6 for STs. Or in Jharkhand, 14 seats, 1 for SC, 5 for STs. Where is this mentioned? Same schedule. Number of seats in the Lok Sabha from each state plus seats reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. All this is mentioned in Schedule 1 of RPA, Representation of People's Act 1950. Clear, everyone? No doubts? And one small point that you should understand and also appreciate is the idea that whenever it comes to an MP in the Lok Sabha, say Narendra Modi, Rahul Gandhi, these are members of parliament, right? In the Lok Sabha, Narendra Modi has been chosen by people of Varanasi. He does not represent UP. Okay, so very important to know and understand that MP in Lok Sabha represents a constituency, not the state. So Narendra Modi is not representing UP in the Lok Sabha. He only represents the constituency of Varanasi. Rahul Gandhi is not representing the state of Kerala. He only represents Wayanad, a small constituency in Kerala. Clear? That's the concept of an MP in the Lok Sabha, unlike that of Rajya Sabha, which we'll see shortly. That's it for the Lok Sabha. Now, moving on to the Council of States, the Rajya Sabha, or the upper house, right? The House of Corrections. Now, Rajya Sabha has representation Ragini and Pavitra will discuss constituencies and how they are formed shortly. After we discuss this, we'll discuss delimitation and I'll explain how are these constituencies being formed. Don't worry. Now, composition. In Rajya Sabha, there is representation of states and also UTs, right? But not all the UTs. You will find that in the Rajya Sabha, there can be maximum how many MPs from states and UTs? 238. And 12 are nominated by the president from fields of art, literature, science, and social service. But currently, we have 225 people chosen from various states, 8 from UTs, and 12 are nominated. Here, only 3 UTs. So, unlike in the case of Lok Sabha, in Rajya Sabha, only 3 UTs are represented. UT of Delhi, 3 seats. UT of Pondicherry, 1 seat. And UT of Jammu and Kashmir, which has been given 4 seats. Please tell me, why only these 3 UTs are nominated? Tell me. Any guesses? Why not Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep, Ladakh? Okay, Anshika Khambapati, absolutely correct. They have no. The reason is these UTs have assembly, not council, assemblies. That is why these UTs are represented. Why? Because in the Rajya Sabha, the MPs are chosen by MLAs of the state. Anyway, so here the total current membership or strength is 245. So Rajya Sabha's current total membership or strength is 245. And how are members elected? So as I said, members are elected indirectly. Why indirectly? Because they are elected by the elected members of state legislative assemblies. Elected MLAs will vote. So there is no concept of constituency here. Clear? Why? Because let us say in some state there are 10 MPs who belong to Rajya Sabha from that state. All 10 MPs are chosen by the MLAs of the state only. So MLAs vote. So if I'm an MP in Rajya Sabha and I have been chosen by the MLAs of Andhra Pradesh, I represent Andhra Pradesh in Rajya Sabha. I don't represent a small area in Andhra Pradesh. Clear? So there is no concept of constituency. MPs in Rajya Sabha represent states. That is why we say that Rajya Sabha is the representation of states in the parliament. Why? Because an MP in the Rajya Sabha is representing his entire state. Are we clear? This is sufficient information. Nothing beyond this is required. Now, how many MPs are there from your state in Rajya Sabha? This is mentioned under Schedule 4. Schedule 4 of Indian Constitution. Okay? Not in some law. Very important, because this is a part of federal structure in the country. Right? You are representing states in the Rajya Sabha. When it comes to passage of bills, etc., this number matters. So in a case of say a state like Andhra Pradesh, the number is 11. Say a state like Bihar, it's 16. For Goa, it's 1. UP, it's 31. This number varies. And this number is mentioned in the constitution itself. Clear? Schedule 4. Now, some of you have been asking this question, sir, how are these UTs being, how are these constituencies being framed? We'll come to it. Just a small point, I think we have discussed this earlier also. There are some people who are nominated. I think you know this. The nomination is done by the president, but of course, it is not his power. We know that also. It is a power of the Council of Ministers. So 12 people are nominated, meaning directly chosen. Nomination means what? Direct appointment. No election, nothing. In from the four fields of art, literature, science, and social service. Nomination. Article 80, clause 3, nomination. Clear? Who is this person? This person is the 46th Chief Justice of India, Justice Gogoi. Right? Recently gave a speech also. Who is this person? He is an academician, Dr. Rakesh Sinha. So who is this person? Please, people from Tamil Nadu will not respond. Others will respond. Don't know? So he's a 5-time National Award winner, Padma Vibhushan Ilayaraja, right? A legendary musician in the Tamil industry and for music in general, right? So I think recently the last movie that he gave music for, if I'm not, others can correct me, I think was Viduthalai, if I'm not wrong. That is a movie where he gave the music, right? The last one, the recent one, starring Vijay Sethupathi, etc. Yes? Oh, great. Anyway, so these are, and for people from Northern Belt, please know he's a legendary musician. Yes, with all due fan following of Anirudh, etc. I fully understand, but his music is amazing. Now, Sidhya, sir, can IAS officer become MP? Yes, sir. But while being in IAS, sorry, leave your job, sir, please. Sirs and ma'ams, if you want to be an MP in future, please resign from the job first. Otherwise, it's office of profit. You cannot be an MP like that. Panela, proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Whoever gets more than 50% votes wins the election. Simple. Yes, Ghulam Mustafa, absolutely correct. And Siva, sir, sports. No, sports is not a criteria mentioned. If your point is that Sachin was nominated or Mary Kom, PT Usha, then it comes from art. Cricket is an art, right? Athletics is an art. Boxing is an art. So, art. Sports per se is not mentioned. Now, yes, coming to the very important point of how are these constituencies formed? Who is forming these constituencies? If I say that this is the size of a constituency and people will vote from here, right? This is the size of this constituency. Who decides that? Firstly, when the entire country is bifurcated into small parts called constituencies, this task is called delimitation. So the meaning of delimitation is creating boundaries, constituencies in the country for Lok Sabha and assemblies. Now, the point is when the population increases, then the constituency has to be made. Okay, good question. I'll ask a question now. A for yes, B for no, think properly and then answer. Requires some logic. If the population of an area increases, the constituency, if the population of the constituency increases, the constituency size should be reduced or should be increased. A for reduce, B for increase. This was basically a bit of logic and maths here. Let me tell you. See, let's assume that these are the two constituencies, and you can see the size also. This is constituency 1, this is constituency 2. Okay. Now, if lot of people suddenly in this area, you find that the population of this area has increased. It has increased. This area. Population has increased. Now, what do? If you do not modify or change the size of this constituency, then this constituency sends 1 MP and this also sends 1 MP. Yes or no? Please hear me out patiently. Now here, this area has higher population. An area with a larger population is sending 1 MP only. Area with a smaller population is sending 1 MP only. Does it make sense? Of course not. We should ensure that for a certain number of people, we should have 1 MP. If this population was 6 lakh, it has become now 10 lakhs. And this is 5 lakhs. It has remained 5 lakh only. Now here 10 lakh people are sending 1 MP and 5 lakh people are sending 1 MP. This area is underrepresented compared to this area. So we will have to change this line. This line from here will have to be brought here. Then maybe the population of this area could possibly be 7 lakhs and this area can become 6 lakhs. Possible? Or 8 lakhs, whatever. This will be 9 lakhs, 6 lakhs. Are you clear now? Whenever the population increases, we have to reduce the area, because now for a smaller area only, we'll have same number of people who used to live in that larger area. Clear? Everybody now? Those who said no or should increase, I hope they are now clear with this. So our population keeps on changing. Now go back to your president's topic discussion on vote value. What was the problem? What was the problem? Southern states have taken steps to control population. Northern states have taken no such step. Population in the northern part of the country is increasing. This means we have to create more and more constituencies in the northern states, right? But population in the southern states has stabilized. So lesser constituencies, which means lesser MPs in Lok Sabha from southern states, more MPs in Lok Sabha from northern states, right? This would indirectly be like punishing the southern state, saying, who asked you to have less kids? Have more kids, increase population, more MPs in Lok Sabha. That's stupid. That is why the current representation of states in the Lok Sabha. So when I say that UP has 80 MPs or UP is divided into 80 parts and Tamil Nadu into 39 parts, that is based on 1971 census. I think this point is something you would remember. Remember 1971 census. Are we clear? Everybody? Now, who divides all these boundaries, or who redraws the boundaries to adjust for change in population? So there is an article 82 of the Indian Constitution which says that let us create a body. That body will be called Delimitation Commission. Delimitation Commission, also popularly called Boundary Commission. The task of this commission is two things: functions. Function number one: determine the boundaries of constituencies based on population. Okay. Number two, you also have to determine SC/ST seat. So the point here again, once again, come here. This seat is an ST seat. This seat is an SC seat. Why? Why not this seat? Why not this seat? Who decides this? Delimitation Commission. It looks into the population of the constituency, and if it finds that that particular constituency has a higher SC/ST population, that seat is reserved for the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribe. Clear? That's all that is required. Now, this Delimitation Commission comprises of three people. Number one, retired Supreme Court judge. Number two, the chief election commissioner of the country. And in every state, there's a person called state election commissioner. Don't worry, we'll discuss this person when you study the chapter Panchayat and municipalities. Every state has a person, he's a constitutional body actually, state election commissioner. This is Article 243 capital K, where you find this person called SEC, the state election commissioner in every state. So these three people comprise together to form the boundary commission. Clear? Or a delimitation commission who performs these functions. And Supreme Court has given multiple judgments in this regard, that if the delimitation commission says that this is the boundary, if the commission says that this is the boundary of a constituency, it is final. This award is final. If the commission says this seat is reserved for scheduled caste, it's final. If the delimitation commission says this constituency is reserved for scheduled tribe, it's final. It is beyond any judicial review. Meghraj Kothari case, 1967. MS Gill case, 1978. Or even the Ponuswamy case, 1952. And also the Delimitation Commission Act itself says, as per section 10, that whatever Delimitation Commission says, it's an independent body whose orders cannot be challenged in any court of law. You cannot question the orders. It's an independent body. Once it says these are the number of constituencies, this is the boundary, done. No questions asked. Yes, when any modification is made to change the boundary, etc., right, to increase the SC/ST seats, etc., then those orders are tabled, laid, meaning placed. Placed in the Lok Sabha, placed in the assemblies. But the Lok Sabha or the assembly cannot make any changes because the award is final. The importance of this commission, an independent body. Clear? Everybody? That's it. Delimitation Commission. Solve a very easy question from this topic. Sidhya, it is a chief election commissioner only. Panela, but we have 6-7 seats from each state. No, not 6-7 seats. UP has 31, Goa has 1. It varies. Absolutely correct. The orders of the Delimitation Commission cannot be challenged in a court of law. Yes, when the orders of the commission are laid before the Lok Sabha or the Assembly, they cannot effect any modification, is also correct. Both are correct. C, both 1 and 2 being the right answer. Okay, great. That's it. Kamapati, yes. UT MPs also is mentioned there. Rashida, I mentioned nomination. Okay, great. So we are done with the Delimitation Commission. Second point, Ragini, this is mentioned here. Whenever the commission says that those 3 seats are reserved for SCs, this order is put in the Lok Sabha for MPs to go through and discuss. You can only discuss. You can't change it. That no, not those three, or no, not 3, 5. Those changes can't be made. Clear? Yes, Ghulam Mustafa, the commission is completely independent. Retired Supreme Court judge, Chief Election Commissioner, SEC, 3 independent people, difficult to control their behavior. Okay, that's it. Let's take a break. After the break, we'll come back at 6, a 20-minute break. We'll come back at 6 and we'll continue our discussion further on the topics at hand. We'll begin with our topic, membership of the parliament. I'll discuss some other points, and then if time permits, we'll also discuss the presiding officers. Break, please. Come back at 6. Okay.